to the rally, everybody. We got our friend of the show, Laurence Holmes. He's also the host of 670 The Score right here in Chicago. Laurence, great to see you. Welcome back.
Oh, I love you guys. Thanks so much for having me. This is fun. I got the call. I was like, yeah, let's come see the peeps. Let's come hang out.
Well, let's talk about one thing that's stirring up a lot of buzz here out of the WNBA, and that is Angel Reese here. She was ejected last night. Now, we don't really know exactly what she said to the refs here, but just curious, your overall perspective of just the situation and how it went down.
So the referee told the pool reporter that there was a dismissive act by Angel Reese, and she, it was kind of dismissive. They have rescinded that second technical on her, though, which is a really, really good thing. I think Angel Reese is one of the more fascinating figures in Chicago sports, and I think that between her and Caleb Williams, we are in a really interesting place with some high-level celebrity athletes right now.
I think it's the celebrity's a really interesting thing, too, because it goes with the personality. And one of the things that we've learned is, like, for Caleb Williams, that personality is not for everybody. I think with Angel Reese, we're seeing a lot of reaction on how the personality is not for everybody. But it is intriguing, and it makes people want to watch. And I thought one of the most interesting things, you mentioned that they rescinded the technical there. My initial thought was, what did she say? Right? Because I think there's a line, and especially when you're a rookie, they're a little bit tighter with those things. We see the vets get after the officials all the time, but I'm like, if she said something that crossed the line, I could understand. A wave off feels like we got to just let that one ride. We don't want to insert ourselves into the game too much.
As all of us kind of parachute into the WNBA, one of the things I think that people have noticed is that the refereeing can be a little inconsistent, whether we're talking about calls that are actually made or calls that aren't made versus someone getting a technical and being tossed from a game. But I will say that I was at Media Day for the Sky, and she has a presence. Like, when she walks in the room, like, you can feel the temperature change. And it's going to be interesting to see how all of this stuff goes with her. I heard her say, and I talked about it on my radio show today, where she had said that she's okay being the bad guy. She's okay being the villain. I would say to Angel that it's okay for you to be the hero, too. Like, you don't have to allow for us to make you the villain or make you think that you have to be the villain. You can be the hero, and she is. Like, she's a hero to people in Baltimore, and she's become a hero to fans here. And she,
young girls.
100%. Like, the impact, I'm telling you, you go to a Sky game and Angel Reese walks in, you see the reaction of girls and even young boys who are playing the game. She is recognizable in a way that we haven't seen a basketball player be in a long time.
The villain thing is always interesting to me when it comes to sports, though, and I've mentioned this when we talked about it, but I think that sports need a villain. Colin Cowherd talked about it very well on his show, where he said that when you're creating a screenplay, you have to have tension, conflict, villain. I also think that certain athletes are very motivated by being on the dark side. And I think she leaned into that as a player. When she was at LSU, you can see it reflected in her game. You can't tell me that somebody who can get rebounds the way that she does not see herself as a villain. Like, that is the dirty work of the game. And so I think part of it is, like, the reaction, and I agree with you. You can be a hero too, but for motivation, I think she takes it to heart that she's going to go out there and be a disruptor regardless of how people feel about it.
I mean, I know that at this point we're talking about semantics. I would say that to correct Colin, you don't have to have a villain, you have to have an antagonist.
Sure.
And the antagonist isn't necessarily a villain. The other thing is, and this is just the journey that I've been going on, we've all been athletes here on this table. I've now gotten to a point as I've gotten older where I start thinking about, sure, there are people that have told me that I can't do this or I can't do that. I'm sure there have been tons of people that have told you that you can't do this. We tend to elevate those people instead of all the people that tell us that we can do stuff, that we deserve the things that we end up getting. And it's a paradigm shift to try and think that way. But I found it to be a lot more valuable to start thinking about the people who believe in me versus the ones that don't.
The positives, Joshua.
I'm not saying that's not a way to think, but
Yeah,
I'll just take Tom Brady, who would go out at practice and he would tell his coach, don't tell me about the good passes, tell me about the bad ones.
Yes.
Because he saw himself as a 6th-round rookie, and he always had to have that me against the world
I mean, the
mentality.
guy with the statue over there was notorious. He'd make up stuff.
Athletes
you're
are
right.
weird folks.